plan. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes life breaks us. Sometimes it leaves us with wounds so deep, we wonder if they'll ever heal. Plan. Sometimes the very ground beneath us gives way, and we are left falling, not knowing when or if, plan, we'll ever land on our feet again. Plan. But allow me to tell you something today, something that once felt impossible for me to believe myself. Plan. Everything happens for a reason. I know how cliché that sounds. Plan. I know it's what people say when they don't know what else to say. But this isn't about sugarcoating pain. Plan. This is about finding purpose in it. You see, pain is not pointless. Broken dreams are not failures. Plan. Even shattered pieces can be rearranged into something far more beautiful than what existed before. Sometimes, plan, we need to be broken to discover how strong we really are. There was a time when I too questioned everything, my identity, plan, my worth, even my will to live. But life has a strange way of giving us gifts wrapped in grief, blessings disguised as burdens. Plan. The very things that feel like the end are often the beginning. Today, I stand here not because I avoided hardship, plan, but because I allowed it to shape me, not define me. When life pushes you down, rise, not in spite of the pain, plan, but because of it. Use it as fuel. Use it to light someone else's path, because when you find meaning in your scars, plan, you become a beacon for others. And if you're in a dark place right now, hold on, plan. Maybe life is just preparing you for something bigger, something beautiful you can't yet see. After all, plan, the stars can't shine without darkness. Thank you. Pain has a way of entering our lives uninvited. Plan. It doesn't knock at the door. It storms in unannounced, unapologetic. Whether it's the loss of a dream, plan, the betrayal of someone we trusted, or the sudden shift of life's direction, pain arrives and demands our attention. Plan. In those moments, it's easy to feel like everything is falling apart for no reason at all. But what if, plan, instead of asking, why me, we asked, what is this trying to teach me? Pain, though unwelcome, plan, is often the very thing that forces us to slow down, reflect, and grow in ways we never would have otherwise. Plan. There's something extraordinary about the human spirit, something that only becomes visible when we are placed in uncomfortable, plan, heartbreaking situations. Pain has a unique way of cracking us open, not to destroy us, plan, but to expose parts of ourselves we didn't know existed. It brings to the surface the resilience, the courage, plan, and the compassion buried deep within. These qualities often remain dormant in comfort, but in pain they rise, plan. And that rising, that awakening, becomes the beginning of a new understanding of who we really are. Many of us carry stories of silent struggles, the kind that no one sees, but that change everything inside, plan. And when we look back, we realize that those very experiences shaped the person we've become, plan. We are wiser because of what we've endured. We are softer because we've been broken. We are stronger not despite the pain, plan, but because we survived it. Pain doesn't take away our value. It deepens it. It refines us, plan. It carves out space within us for empathy, for patience, and for a deeper connection to others. So no, pain is not pointless, plan. It may not make sense right away. It may feel unfair, unjust, and unbearable while we are going through it. But with time, plan, and with reflection, we begin to see the hidden work it was doing inside us all along, plan. We begin to understand that sometimes pain is not a punishment. It is a preparation, plan. It is a path to becoming who we were always meant to be, plan, even if we never would have chosen that path ourselves. We often associate strength with perfection, with unshaken confidence, plan, with smiling through the storm, with always knowing what to do. But real strength rarely looks like that, plan. Real strength shows up when everything falls apart, It shows up in the quiet decision to try again after failure, plan. In the trembling hands that still choose to hold on, and in the heart that refuses to shut down even after being shattered, plan. Our most powerful selves are not born in the easy moments. They rise from the rubble of what we thought we couldn't survive, plan. Brokenness doesn't mean weakness. In fact, it is in our most broken moments that we meet the deepest parts of ourselves, plan. When we are stripped of everything we once leaned on, status, plans, relationships, plan, health, we come face to face with the essence of who we are. And in that rawness, something incredible happens, plan. We begin to realize that even in pieces, we still have worth. Even when life has changed us forever, plan. We are still capable of standing, of loving, of rebuilding. It's not about bouncing back, plan. It's about rising in a new way, wiser, deeper, plan, and more whole. There is a kind of strength that is only revealed through struggle, a strength that doesn't roar but endures, plan. It's the kind that stays up through sleepless nights, the kind that whispers, keep going, when the world says, plan, you can't. This strength isn't loud, it isn't glamorous, it's often invisible to others, plan. But it is the kind of strength that transforms a wounded soul into a healer, a survivor into a guide, plan, and a broken past into a powerful story of hope. Our brokenness is not the end of our strength. It is the doorway to discovering it, plan. So, when life breaks you, and it will in ways big and small, don't rush to hide the cracks. Don't be ashamed of the pain, plan. Instead, lean in, listen. Allow those broken pieces to speak to you. Because sometimes, plan, the strongest version of you is the one that rises slowly, scarred but unshaken, whispering, I may be broken, plan, but I am not done. And in that quiet defiance, true strength is born. When we're in the midst of struggle, plan, it rarely feels like there's any purpose to it. It feels chaotic, unfair, plan, and confusing, like life has gone off script and we're just trying to survive scene by scene. But sometimes, plan, the very moments that feel like detours are actually the most direct paths to discovering who we are meant to become. Struggle, plan, in its raw and painful form, has a way of digging up our deepest truths, truths we might never have uncovered in comfort, plan. Purpose doesn't always arrive wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it arrives as pain. Sometimes it enters as loss, failure, or rejection, plan. But hidden inside those hard experiences are the seeds of transformation, plan. Maybe the job you lost was clearing space for you to finally pursue your real passion, plan. Maybe the heartbreak you endured was teaching you what love should and should not be. Maybe the silence, the stillness, plan, the loneliness, all of it was preparing you to meet yourself in a way you never had before, plan. Struggle doesn't block your purpose, it reveals it. Too often, we look at suffering as a setback, plan, not realizing it can be a setup for something greater. Struggle refines our values. It forces us to confront what truly matters, plan. It humbles us, grounds us, and expands our empathy for others. Most people who create change in the world, who inspire, lead, plan, and heal, didn't get there by avoiding pain. They got there because they walked through it, plan. And somewhere in the middle of that darkness, plan, they discovered a light that wasn't just meant for them. It was meant to be shared, plan. So if you're in the thick of it right now, confused, exhausted, questioning everything, don't rush to escape it, plan. Sit with it. Ask it what it's trying to show you, because sometimes the purpose is not in what's happening to you, plan, but in what it's building within you. Struggle doesn't just leave scars, plan. It leaves maps. Maps that lead us not only to our own healing, but to the healing of others. And that right there, plan, is where true purpose begins to take shape. There is a strange kind of wisdom that grows in the dark, plan, When life takes a turn and the lights go out. When the answers fade, the path disappears, plan, and the future feels like a question mark. We often panic. We feel abandoned by life, left to navigate the unknown alone, plan. But it's in that very darkness, when everything external is stripped away, that we start to see differently. Not with our eyes, plan, but with something deeper. Darkness doesn't just blind us, it slows us down, it turns us inward. And in that quiet, plan, unfamiliar space, we begin to hear things we had ignored in the noise. In the dark, we learn to be present, plan. We learn to sit with the discomfort rather than run from it, plan. We begin to understand that not every moment has to be bright to be meaningful, plan. Just like seeds need the soil's darkness to sprout, we too need seasons of shadow to grow, plan. These aren't the moments that pretty on the outside, but they are often the most transformative on the inside, plan. They teach us patience. They teach us stillness. They help us listen not just to the world, plan, but to our own voice, the one we often silence to fit in, to keep going, to avoid feeling. And eventually, plan, the darkness begins to shift. A faint light appears, not always outside of us, but within, plan. We notice a strength we didn't know we had, a kind of calm that doesn't depend on circumstances, plan. We see things more clearly because we've been forced to look at life without filters. The pain didn't leave, plan, but it began to shape us, and slowly, plan. The darkness that once felt like an ending starts to reveal itself as preparation. A quiet process of renewal happening beneath the surface, plan. It was never there to punish us, but to prepare us for the light we were not yet ready to carry, plan. We begin to realize that without darkness, we wouldn't appreciate the light when it comes, plan. The sunrise feels more miraculous after a long night. Joy becomes more sacred when we've tasted sorrow, plan. Peace feels deeper when we've wrestled with chaos. The contrast isn't there to hurt us. It's there to awaken us. And so, plan, even the darkness has its purpose. It teaches us to walk not by sight, but by trust. And it reminds us that sometimes, plan, the most beautiful light doesn't come from the outside at all. It rises quietly, patiently from within, plan. One of the hardest things to do in life is to accept what we cannot change. We are taught to fight, to strive, plan, to fix. And while there is strength in perseverance, there is also profound strength in surrender, plan. Not the kind of surrender that gives up, but the kind that leans in and says, this is what it is, plan, and I will meet it as it is. Resistance keeps us stuck in cycles of frustration, denial, and pain. But acceptance, true plan, deep acceptance, begins to open a path toward peace. Acceptance does not mean agreement. It does not mean we approve of the loss, plan, the heartbreak, the injustice. It simply means we stop arguing with reality, plan. We stop asking life to be different from what it is in this moment. That shift in perspective doesn't erase the pain, plan, but it does loosen its grip. We no longer waste energy resisting what already exists. Instead, plan, we gather our strength to respond to it, and in that space where resistance softens into acceptance, healing can begin, plan. When we resist life, we create tension within ourselves. We hold on to the way things should have been, could have been, plan, or used to be. But the more we cling to those expectations, the more we suffer. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows us to breathe, plan. It gives us the clarity to see what's still possible, even within the limits of what's changed, plan. It doesn't mean we stop dreaming or hoping. It means we anchor ourselves in the present so we can move forward with grounded strength, plan, not wishful denial. Some of the most powerful transformations happen when we stop trying to escape our circumstances and begin to accept them. Not passively, plan, but consciously. We begin to ask different questions. Plan, not, why is this happening to me? But What can I learn from this? Not, how do I make it go away? But, how do I carry this with grace? In that shift, plan, we reclaim our power. Because when we stop fighting the storm, plan, we can start learning how to walk through the rain, not as victims, but as fully present, fully feeling, deeply human souls, plan. We often grow up believing that life is a destination, that if we work hard enough, achieve enough, fix enough, plan, we'll finally arrive somewhere, a place of certainty, perfection, or peace. But the truth is, we are never truly finished, plan. We are constantly evolving, unfolding, becoming. Life is not about getting somewhere and staying there, plan. It's about moving through seasons, shedding old skins, and discovering who we are. Over and over again. Each experience, plan, each change, each challenge contributes to that process of becoming, plan. There's something beautifully liberating about realizing that we are not meant to stay the same, plan. The person you were 5 years ago, or even 5 months ago, was a version of you shaped by what you knew then, plan. But growth demands change. It asks us to release old beliefs, outgrown dreams, and the identities we once clung to, plan. It's not always comfortable. In fact, becoming often begins with breaking. But that breaking clears space, plan. It invites us to rebuild not from fear or habit, but from truth. Every stage of our life teaches us something new about who we are, plan. Sometimes we are the student. Sometimes we are the teacher. Sometimes we are lost. Sometimes we lead, plan. But in all of it, the victories, the regrets, the quiet moments in between, we are becoming more ourselves, plan. Life doesn't hand us a fixed identity. It gives us raw material. And through choices, challenges, and change, plan, we shape who we are. And perhaps that's the real purpose, not to reach a final version of ourselves, plan, but to live fully through each transformation. So let go of the pressure to have it all figured out, plan. Let go of the need to define yourself in permanent terms. You are allowed to change your mind, to start again, plan, to rise from your own ashes more than once. Life is not a straight line, it's a winding path full of detours, lessons, plan, unexpected beauty, plan. And every step, no matter how uncertain or painful, is a step in the journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. So if you've walked through pain, plan. If you've felt lost in the dark, if you've been broken and questioned your worth, know this: you are not behind, plan. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are in the process of becoming. Life doesn't always give us answers right away, plan. Sometimes it gives us seasons of silence, of struggle, of stillness. But every step, even the hard ones, plan, are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate than you were before, plan. So trust the journey, even the parts that hurt. Trust that the pieces will come together, plan, even if right now they don't make sense. Because one day, plan, you'll look back and see how even the detours led you exactly where you needed to be, plan. Everything happens for a reason, not to break you, but to build something beautiful within you. Thank you.